Hi, my name is Hisham Ilyas. I am a spatial designer and architecture student at the Bartlett School of Architecture, and my work sits between architecture, furniture, ritual, and performance. Forms of Remembrance begins with a simple question. What happens to cultural memory when it's not written down, not archived, and not formally represented within architecture, but is instead carried through repeated actions within the body? In British Muslim life and diasporic domestic life, many of the often most important spatial practices happen at the scale of posture, gesture, and gathering. A hand moves across food in a particular way, beads pass through fingers, a floor is cleared, a threshold is managed, and a room changes its rules when guests arrive. These acts are often invisible to the architectural record, but they carry deep spatial intelligence. My project proposes a series of ritual furniture artifacts at the bodily scale, which architecture holds cultural memory through the use rather than representation. The memory begins with observing a ritual I then map its choreography through drawings, bodily studies, and a clay pressure cast. Those are then traced and translated into CNC Tillman timber surfaces and then fixed in steel and returned to the body through performance at the goal of reaching transcendent experiences for others to experience. Two artifacts currently exist within the research. The first is an eating table that scripts the right hand's choreography within a Pakistani meal. The second is the dhikr desk, which binds writing and the counting of prayer beads into one sustained act of remembrance. Both are currently made from ebonized ash and steel, and they are not neutral pieces of furniture. I view them as something that guides and restricts, as well as holding the body into rituals which begin to emerge. So for Venice, I propose to develop into these wider installations of 4 to 6 artifacts. Each object would hold a single act: eating, praying, gathering, thresholds, and remembrance, or even the preparation of a shared domestic space. Together they would inform an environment of diasporic rituals. A visitor would not simply look at the cultural object or read about them, they would encounter the rituals physically through movement, pressure, reach, stillness, and repetition. This is important because diasporic architecture is often discussed through identity, image, or symbolism, and I believe that my work asks whether inherited cultural knowledge can instead be held in timber, steel, proportion, resistance, and even use. The project sits between architecture, furniture, and performance. It treats making as research and constraint as productive. Rather than designing objects that accommodate every possible body movement, my interest within these artifacts is something that has a narrow possibility, because ritual themselves are structured acts. The Biennale College workshop would allow me to test the method at scale, and it will help me test the method at the scale of an environment. The grant would support the development and production of a precise, buildable installation, a family of ritual furniture pieces that can be inhabited, tested, and then performed. Forms of Remembrance, in conclusion, is ultimately about how communities' memory can survive migration, not as nostalgia, not as decoration, but as repeated use, held by the body and its given architectural form. Thank you.